I have a teak plank that's coming loose, and it's right there. And so I just need to, right there, I just need to remove the screw that's in there and replace it with a little bigger screw. And I think it's only going to take one screw, so I just want to get it back down for now. So the previous owner, he redid this side, the port side, and what he did was he removed the screws. I think he removed a few at a time, and then he injected some acetone down in the screw hole, and that draws moisture out as it evaporates. So this boat, the deck is teak planked, but underneath the teak is fiberglass that's got a plywood core. And so what happens with these boats is that the screw holes will leak, water gets into the core, and the core will start to rot. I seen a guy on the East Coast that had a boat like this, and he had really bad dry rot. The whole cabin had dry rot, and he basically had to rebuild the whole cabin. I think he gave up on the project, but he was pulling some of the deck loose, and he removed the teak, and then he removed the fiberglass, the top layer, and he got down to the core. And so in the video I could see where all the screw holes were on the plywood core, because they had gotten wet and the wood had gotten soft, dry rot. But the spots that had the dry rot in the core, it wasn't like the whole core was rotted. It was just where the screw holes are. And so you could see in the video that the rotted areas were probably about the size of a quarter. And on the East Coast they get a lot more rain, and it's the fresh rainwater. Fresh water is what rots wood. It has a rot organism in it, and that's why you really should wash your boat. If you have wood on your boat, or if it's a wood boat, you want to use salt water. Just get a bucket and dip it in the drink and use that water, salt water. But at any rate, so back east they get a lot more rain, and so the whole core, deck core, was not rotted. It was just, like I said, spots about the size of a quarter for each screw hole. So this boat's been on the West Coast, and so it's probably not as bad as that boat was. So the previous owner, he removed the screws over here and injected acetone. When the acetone evaporates, it draws the moisture out. He used thin epoxy and a syringe, and he injected the holes after everything dried out with epoxy. And so the deck on this side of the boat is really fastened down well, and it feels very, very strong when you walk on it. So he did this side, and then he quit. He didn't do the front, and he didn't do the starboard side. Eventually I'm going to probably have to do it if I want to save this teak deck. But for the most part, all the planks are down good, except for this one plank right here. This screw is totally missing, and I'm going to have to remove this bung and do this screw. So it looks like two screws. I'm going to have to be careful here because there's a knot, and that can break. So at any rate, so that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to go ahead and I got to remove that bung and the screw that's underneath there, and I'll show you how I do that. A lot of the bungs have popped out. You can see the screws are backing out, so they're coming up. So eventually these are all going to have to be redone. I may just go ahead and try tighten some of those screws down for now, but at any rate, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so whenever you're removing bungs, you don't want to damage the wood around it. And most of the bungs, when they're put in, they usually got the grain going the same direction as the grain of the wood, the teak, the planks. And so what you want to do, like say the grain's going this way, you want the flat screwdriver to be lined up with the grain in the same direction. Okay, so what I do is I go right in the center of the bung, and then I take a hammer. This bung's a little crooked. The grain's not perfectly in line. So I got to just line it up with the bung grain, and then I tap it. And I usually can just pop it out. Got to go in deeper. There it goes. And took a little bit of wood from the plank, but it's real slight. It's not really anything to worry about. So I'm just gonna pop it that way. Okay, now it's out. And now you can see the screw down in there. And it's a flathead screw, and there's wood in it. Sometimes glue gets in them. So what you got to do when it's a flathead is just take the screwdriver and move it back and forth to clean the slot. So the slot's cleaned out like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and just back it out. So now this one is coming out easy, good. And that's it. So that's how you remove them. So I think what I'm going to do is replace this with a bigger screw, not longer, but I think a little bit bigger in diameter. Let's see what I got. Wow, this screw is a lot shorter and it's smaller. So, and I think this was the screws that I was replacing on the side over here on the starboard side when I was doing this last year. But this isn't going to work because it's too short. Diameter is pretty close to the same, but so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to screw the one I took out back down and see if I can get it to bite in. It popped out once, so I don't think it's going to stay, but let's try it. Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay, so now it's not wanting to back out, so that's why I brought my needle nose pliers. Hopefully I'll be able to pull it out. I'm not going to be able to get a hold of it. Maybe let's see if I can get under it with a screwdriver and pull it up. Nope, I'm going to get something else. Okay, what I need to do is get under it, pull it up some, and then unscrew it. It went all the way down in. It feels like it went all the way through the screw might have went all the way through the bolt. Boat. This is bigger than the screws that are here. Okay, here it goes. It's coming up now. So get it going. I think it'll go. Yeah, I got it now. Yeah, this screw had been replaced, and this was a bigger screw, so this makes it difficult because the hole is bigger now. When he did this, I guess the previous owner must have done this. I don't think I did. So I don't think I didn't replace any screws back here. So I may use this screw to go in this hole here, because this one needs to be, let's go ahead and do that now. See if I can get this to work. Okay, feels like it's biting. It's bringing the teak up, but there it goes back down. No, I may have to drill this out. So yeah, it feels like I'm gonna have to drill this out. It's not going. There may be a screw down in there, which I hope is not the case. Okay, I'm gonna have to drill this. I need a fatter screw, and I have them right here, but the head is too big. I don't think. Yeah, I can try it, see what I can get done. Oh boy, this kind of makes me nervous. I don't know if I like this idea. No, it's biting in good, and it's going to go in. Yeah, that's good. See what happens. Fortunately, I don't think I'm gonna. I may need to get my bigger screwdriver. Another thing is when you're screwing these in, you could, you know, I have used my drill with a screwdriver bit in it, but I don't like doing that because if you slip, you can damage the plank. So I'm going to go ahead and push this in. I'm going to get my bigger screwdriver. I'm real happy with this. Okay, this is better. It's tight, that's good. If this fits down in this, I think it's going to. Looks like it's going in. Oh yeah, it's working. Sweet, okay. Happened to be just the right size, so I lucked out. It's tight. And it's deep enough, I think I can get a bung on top of that. So this, like I said before, teak decks, you either love them or you hate them. I happen to like them. I think they're beautiful. They're nice non-skid surface. And there's a few problems with them. They get pretty hot in summer if it's real hot to walk on. But the newer teak decks are glued down. There's no screws at all, and that's the way to go. And but this caulking here, the sun breaks it down over time, and it has to be replaced. So it all has to be dug out and then recalked. And there's a couple ways you can do it. You can put masking tape on both sides and then run the caulking in there, and then while it's still wet, pull the masking tape up. And so it's a lot of work with tape, using a lot of tape. You can imagine all the tape it'd take to do this. And then also, but the other way is you just go ahead and just not even put tape and then caulk it and smear it all over the wood and then come back and sand everything. So either way, it's a lot of work. So for right now, I'm just gonna screw these down. I really don't care that much about screw holes showing. So at any rate, I just need to get this one filled here. This plank's down pretty good now. I'd like to get a screw in here, so I'm going to go get my drill, and I'm going to check some of these other screws. See, this one's coming, this one right here is coming way up. I mean, that's almost far enough up to trip over. And these are brass screws, and the problem with brass screws is they just basically will rot off and fall apart. And so that might be the case here. Yep, see that? It's broken. So now that means there's a piece of the screw down in there. And so when I go to put another screw in, that's going to be a problem. Let's see if I can And it feels like the same thing with this one. See if it'll go down. Usually if it doesn't go down, that's what's going on. If you use a screw with a small enough head that fits in the bung hole, then you can kind of go offset a little bit and go around the piece of broken off screw that's down in there. I had a pair of needle nose pliers that the previous owner had, and they were bent over. He bent them over, and he used them to take out the screws. Unfortunately, I had them in a bag, and I put trash in the bag and I threw them away by accident. I don't think I can get in here with this and to get those. No, there's no way. He ground them down to where they're really small, and I may have to do that. Just get some new needle nose and get the kind that are bent. The nose is bent over, and then grind them down. I got a Dremel. I can grind them down real fine, so I can get in there and remove the broken screws. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my drill and drill this hole out, this hole right here, and put one of these screws in. And now with the Phillips, with the flatheads, when you put a bung in here, you put glue to glue it in, and you put the little piece of teak, round piece of teak bung in there. With the flatheads, you can clean the slot out when you go to remove them. With Phillips heads, it's going to be more difficult. You can't put if that's full of glue, the screwdriver's not going to go in it. But you can get a probe, which is like a little ice pick thing. It's like an awl or ice pick, but a real skinny one. Or you could even take a needle and go in with a needle and clean the head out, so you can get the screwdriver into the head to pull the screw out. So I'm going to go get my drill and my drill bits. A lot of people will just tear the teak deck out and then refiberglass the area, the deck. And it's a lot of work and it's expensive. I've known people that's done it and it turned out good. My neighbor did it to his boat, and his boat was about the same size as this one. And it turned out nice. And then that way you've got a boat that's real low maintenance, which is really nice. Though really there's not a lot of maintenance to teak deck. You don't varnish it or anything like that. You want it to be non-skid, so you just leave it bare. But it's just the recalking of it. After so many years, it has to be redone. I wish they'd come up with something different to put in here that wouldn't break down. I thought about neoprene rubber and cutting strips and then pounding them in, and that'd last forever. But I don't know. You'd have to put some kind of sealer down in there too, I think, first, and then pound them in. So. I just need to get a small drill bit, maybe this one right here. So it's got to be smaller than the screw. You want to make sure you see threads on both sides. I think this is perfect. It's not going in. It's not going in very easy. Yeah, the screw might have been broken off, so I'm gonna position here better. Kind of awkward position. Get some weight on here. Oh, there it goes. So that was the screw. I just poked it through. So that's good. That'll probably be good enough. And it's a bigger diameter than the brass screws, so it's going in. I'll have to push the T-plate down too when I'm doing this. Oh, yeah. Great. Okay, it's good and tight. It's down enough I can put a bung over the top. The plank now is down and secure. It's not loose anymore. So that's it. That's all there is to it. So, but a lot of these screws are going to have to be replaced, and I know a lot of them are broken out. Back here, you can see this void right here. So see, that's loose and this is loose. This is going to have to all be redone. The whole thing all the way across is loose. So I'm going to have to go and do those. But at any rate, that's how it's done. So it's pretty simple. So if you found this video useful or entertaining, please like and subscribe.